apocalyptic movies, right? Like, and the apocalyptic movie meaning like, so the great the great tragedy has occurred. Let's say what that is. Let's say World War III has happened. So now in these apocalyptic movies, this is the aftermath of a World War III, right? So now you're always going to have, you know, the people that's in charge, and then you're always going to have the rebels. You're always going to have somebody rebelling against the system. It's not like we all going to be living and doing things in peace and harmony. You're always going to have that clash. Because remember, the opponent's intent and purpose is to destroy humanity. He came to steal, to kill, to destroy. Right? So when it says that, verse 42 again, and as the toes of the feet were a part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Why? Because we're going to be divided. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Here's the question. Who are they? Who are the they that are going to mingle themselves with the seed of men? It has to be talking about something else. Remember when we were talking about me, Hasatan? And remember when we were talking about demonic possession? Where people were possessed by unclean spirits? It says, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. This is what's going on. This is what's going to cause all of the commotion. The intent and the purpose is to get humanity. Matter of fact, Mashiach, YAHUSHUA said it like this. Nation is going to rise up against nation. Kingdom against people. Kingdom against kingdom. But what people don't realize, they look at that and they just look at it like, and let's say, I'm just using it as an example, Russia rising up against Ukraine, or China rising up against the United States. They look at it like that. They're not looking at it in the context of men versus women. This is one of the big things that's good, especially in the black community today. The police versus the citizens. You see what I'm saying? The idea is about creating division. Red versus blue. You get it? And we are trained for competition. Why do you think there is an NFL or an NBA or an MLB or an NHL? We are trained to compete with one another. We are trained to fight, to attack, to destroy one another. But we don't look at it that way. You know why? Because it entertains us. But anyway, let's move on. Let's go to Daniel chapter 7 now. Verse 7 and 8. He says, after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast. Hear that four again. Dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. Here's our sign. And it had great iron teeth to let us know it's the same beast that Nebuchadnezzar saw. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before. In other words, this system is going to be totally different. Here's the question. Why is it going to be different? What's going to be different about it? And it had 10 horns. See? Again, I was just conversing with a brother about that. And when people hear the 10 horns, and it is described as being 10 kings, right? But what we don't want to do, we don't want to limit the idea of 10 kings to simply being 10 heads of 10 countries. When you get into the real power structure of this world system, it is not just because somebody was elected into the office or born into the office or placed into the office, whichever way. Who has the money? We don't know. The average Joe has absolutely and positively no idea what's going on among the higher ups. We don't know. But Abba knows. And he told us. Like I mentioned earlier, people like to say the cabal or Illuminati, etc., etc. You can use whatever clever or illustrious title you want to use. Abba simply said, and it had 10 horns. In other words, there are going to be at least 10 people responsible for governing this organization. That's all he's telling us. I don't have to try to figure out what the 10 is. Now what we're doing is this. We're broadening our horizons, if you will. It cannot be broken down because Abba did have a physical fulfillment of that, and these 10 kings, if you will, have been represented. But we're beyond that now. Because he didn't just say that here. But let's move on. Verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the root. And this is where we get into the physical fulfillment of this. This is something that historically happened. And behold, in this horn, this little horn again. See, we looked at the little horn, we were talking about the Grecian Empire, which was a different little horn, but again, because they are little horns, they teaching us something about one another. Although one comes from the Grecian Empire, this one is coming from the Roman Empire, but they still point to the exact same mission. It says, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man. Now, when it says it has eyes, what we supposed to glean from that? If it has eyes, that simply teaches us insight. It has the ability to see. That's all it's teaching us. This little horn is going to have some insight. In other words, it's going to have some knowledge. It's going to have some wisdom. It's going to have some understanding. Remember Antiochus Epiphanes, who understood dark sayings, who was crafty. Okay. He says, and a mouth that spake very great things. So if you have this insight, not only do you have the insight, you have the ability to communicate what it is that you want done. Isn't that exactly what Antiochus Epiphanes did? We're going to make the world Greek. Hellenization, right? Whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. See? And here I didn't put verse 22 in there. But in verse 22, what it basically said, this little horn, or whatever's going to be going on, as far as the saints being prevailed against, right, is going to happen until the Ancient of Days come. So everything that we are going through, saints, everything that Israel, we understand who Israel is now. We are the adopted ones. See? We are the ones on the side of the seed of Elohim. Put all this stuff together. We ain't talking about all this stuff for nothing. We know the criteria of what Israel is. Those who keep the Torah and acknowledge YAHUSHUA HaMashiach as your Savior, as your Redeemer. It's all of that. That's an Israelite according to Abba. That's what an Israelite is. That's who's going to be under attack until the Ancient of Days come. But even though we're under attack, you know what Abba said? Continue fighting my battle. We don't stop. We continue, as the one brother said, we continue to struggle. Embrace the struggle. Right? Anyway, he said, dropping down to verse 23. Thus he said, now he can get the explanation about the vision. The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms. Here go that diverse. It's going to be different from all kingdoms. And shall devour the whole earth and tread it down and break it in pieces. See, now you got to ask the question, how is it going to be different? What's going to be different about it? See, when people think about it being tread down, we're thinking about in a sense of war and fighting and ravaging and just crushing everything. It ain't like that. That's not how this fourth kingdom operated. It did something different. Verse 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. And another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So, hey, that word diverse, if you look up these times when it says diverse, 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 you look it up in the Hebrew, it's the same word. It means to alter, to change. Even the little horn is being described as being diverse, different. What is this little horn going to do that's so different from all the other ones before? And let me add this too. And just a reminder. When you go back to Nebuchadnezzar's dream, head of gold, the breast and the arms of silver, the belly of brass, the legs of iron, and the feet of iron and miry clay and everything, right? But it was one image. In other words, you got one kingdom. And what the Creator is showing, the development of this one world system. Babylon, when he told King Nebuchadnezzar, you are the head of gold, that's the control center. Remember that. But it's one system. When Daniel sees the beast, although he sees these individual beasts, you're just seeing the development of one kingdom. One kingdom. We've been calling that one kingdom or that one system, you call it the world system, or we can call it the seed of the serpent. But I was showing them that they have an organizational structure. That's all we're learning. Okay? 10 horns. We already talked about the 7 heads. So the 7 heads upon which the one, we're going to get to it. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Verse 24 again. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom were 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. Listen to what's being said. This is the little horn. Now, what does that remind you of? Doesn't that remind you of Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh? In other words, who withstood Yahweh face to face. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. He's speaking words against the Creator. He wears out the saints who represent the Creator. And think to do, guess what? Guess what he thinks to do? Change. Is that why this kingdom is diverse from all the others? Because when you look up that word change, guess what? It's the exact same word that's translated as diverse. Well, brother, how come you didn't put it up on the board? I'm telling you now. Look it up. Every time it says diverse in Daniel chapter 7, and you look up that word change in Daniel 7:25, it's the exact same word, to alter. This little horn going to think to alter something. What? Times. Times. Keep these things in mind. And laws. Could it be that when Antiochus Epiphanes said that he wanted the world to be one, and then the edict went out that you ain't supposed to do anything that takes you back to the Torah? B'Shem YAHUSHUA Mashiach. Shema Israel. Shema. Abba gave us the layout. He gave us the plan. He gave us the working of the opponent. All we got to do is pay attention. And they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time. Save that for another time. Okay. Now, what was revealed to Daniel, and whether this little horn is from Greece, whether it's from Rome, it was also revealed to Yochanan in Revelation. So let's go there now. Revelation chapter 13, we're going to kind of breeze through this because I'm running out of time. It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Now this beast that he saw is a conglomeration. Remember, it's only one kingdom. So to indicate that when Daniel saw those 4 beasts, or when Nebuchadnezzar had that dream about the one image, I'm going to substantiate now in my word, it was just one system the whole time. This is what he did. Verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Remember the leopard from Daniel's vision? And his feet were as the feet of a bear. Remember the bear from Daniel's vision? And his mouth as the mouth of a lion. Remember the lion from Daniel's vision? One beast, one system, one world system, one beast system. The seed of the serpent. And the dragon, who? That old serpent called the devil and Satan. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Right? Now let's drop down to verse 11. I just wanted to touch on that so we see where we are. And we get to this next one. Verse 11. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. Now here's the question. Why did this one come up out of the earth? Food for thought. And it had two horns like those of a lamb, but it spake like a dragon. So here's what we got going on now. Two horns like a lamb. The indication is it's going to appear to be innocent. Remember when the Messiah talked about beware of false prophets who come to you dressed like sheep, but inwardly are ravening wolves? Food for thought. And I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. He had two horns like those of a lamb, but it spake like a dragon. In other words, the seat, the power, the authority. Verse 12. He, talking about this other beast, he exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence. He's connected to the beast we just read about, which is a conglomeration of the image of Nebuchadnezzar and all the animals that Daniel saw. And he makes the earth and her inhabitants worship the first beast. Remember, the scripture said that they worship the beast, and they worship the dragon. Right? It says, he exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and he makes the earth and her inhabitants worship the first beast, the one whose fatal wound has been healed. He performs great miracles. Talking about this other beast now. He performs great miracles, even causing fire to come down from the heaven onto the earth as people watch. He deceives the people living on earth by the miracles he is allowed to perform in the presence of the beast. And he tells them to make an image honoring the beast that was struck by the sword and came alive again. Now, keep in mind what he just said is talking about this other beast in verse 11. And it says, he, this other beast, deceived the people living on the earth by the miracles he is allowed to perform in the presence of the beast. Now, keep your finger there. Let's go to Revelation chapter 19 and verse 20. Listen to what it says. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. So this other beast that's coming up out of the earth, guess what? It's the false prophet. This is the little horn that came out of Greece. This is the little horn that came out of Rome. The false prophet. Why is this beast different from the other one? That's not how he's going to ravage humanity. It's not because he's going to steamroll over people in the physical sense, in the sense of being at war. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. See? Let's go back real quick. Revelation 13:15. Almost done. It was allowed to put breath into the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast could even speak, and he was allowed to cause anyone who would not worship the image of the beast to be put to death. Hold your finger there. Eucana, or John chapter 16, verses 1 to 3. These things have I spoken to you, that ye should not be offended. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time comes that whosoever kills you will think that he does God service. And these things they will do to you, because they have not known Abba or me. Keep these things in mind. Let's go now to Revelation chapter 17. Because if you have a false prophet, guess what else you got to have? You got to have an assembly or a church. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, Come hither. I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth had committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth had been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. In other words, the great whore, guess who she connected to? The false prophet. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman, representing that church, that assembly, sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Talking about that system, but don't focus on just Rome being the city of on 7 hills. No, we're talking about 7 continents. We're talking about the entire world system. That's still going to be orchestrated and controlled by 10 people. Says, Revelation 17:9. Just touch this. And here's the man which hath wisdom. The 7 heads, the 7 mountains on which the woman sit. And verse 12, Revelation 17:12. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings, one out of the beast. Now, once again, worldwide domination. That's all it's pointing to. Okay? When people think about worldwide domination, they think everybody's going to be the same. It's not about everybody being the same. Everybody's going to be the same in the context of being against the people of Israel. That's what they're going to be the same as. Against Israel. And who are Israel? Those who keep the commandments of Yah and have the testimony of YAHUSHUA. That's what Israel is. They're all going to be against Israel. Go back to Revelation 17, picking up in verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written. Guess what? Mystery. Hidden. Concealed. Babylon the Great. You mean the same Babylon that was started by Nimrod? The mother of harlots. Not only is she the great whore, I'm producing other whores. Huh? Like a madam. See? And abominations of the earth. And guess what? Let me go back up real quick. Revelation 13:15. He was allowed to put breath into the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast could even speak, and he was allowed to cause anyone who would not worship the image of the beast to be put to death. Now compare this to what it says about this woman. Revelation 17:6. I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of YAHUSHUA. Hear that? When you talk about being the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth, remember, this little horn had eyes in sight. You know what that means? He's an intellectual. Excuse me. See, and under the banner of intellectualism, you know what happens now? What the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth. You know what the mother of harlots and abomination of the harlots and abominations are? Religions, philosophies, and sciences. That is why this kingdom is different. I don't have to strong arm you with guns and bombs and tanks. I got your mind by my religion and my philosophy and my science. That's how I'm different. And the world don't know what hit him. But we're going to stop right there. We're going to get back to some other stuff momentarily. We're going to get to it. We're going to see how all this stuff plays in and ties in together. Hallelujah! Beshem Yahushua HaMashiach. I want to give praise, glory, and honor to your holy and to your most precious name for the truth of your word. I pray that those who listen, Abba, you engage them. You show them by revealing to them that these things are true. I ask you humbly and I ask you sincerely in the name of YAHUSHUA HaMashiach to forgive us all for our sins, to strengthen us all to be obedient and to be submissive, that we may all do what is pleasing in your sight. Engrave upon our hearts and upon our minds the word that you have brought forth this day, that it continue to strengthen those who have a hunger and thirst for your righteousness, that we continue all to grow in your grace, your knowledge, your mercy, your wisdom, your understanding, your compassion. I humbly and I sincerely thank you for allowing me the opportunity and the privilege to stand before you at this time, at this moment, and to stand before your people and to speak your word according to your divine will. I pray that you, again, Abba, help us all to see through your eyes, to hear through your ears.